Today we're going to talk through the Topps MVP Buyback program, why I think it's good for collectors, why I think it's good for the hobby, but then we'll also touch on some Hanky Panky that looked like occurred right before this went live. So I would assume most of you have seen this by now, but essentially Topps announced this Topps MVP Buyback program. Now essentially what that means is for all Paul Goldschmidt and Aaron Judge cards within Topps Chrome 2022, they're going to give you some credit at your local hobby store or through ComC, and then you can use that money to spend on other things. Now, it is pretty cool for a couple of reasons because the amounts they're giving you back are quite high. You're going to get $20 in-store credit for base cards, $40 for refractors. For cards that are numbered greater than 100, you're going to get $100. Cards numbered less than 100, you're going to get 200, which I think is pretty amazing in my opinion. Now, if you click through there, you can see the full list, but essentially, this is only going to work with participating hobby stores. And it's a good thing for a few reasons. One, it's going to give you value for cards that were worth pretty much peanuts. Obviously, some of these base cards and refractors weren't worth a whole lot of money. But now that you can obviously get some good return for them, it gives you an incentive to bust more products. So that's why Topps have that incentive, right? Because you're going to have people now chasing unsold boxes of Topps Chrome 2022 to try and hit these cards to try and make some profit, right? And that's the reason why they're doing it. They want to inject more money within the hobby. Now, it's also good because it gives you opportunity to spend that cash and other things. I don't think it has to be Topps product that you use your buyback credit for. Now, in my opinion, that's a really, really cool thing. And I hope we start seeing more of it from some of these manufacturers, to be honest, because the amount of money that you're seeing here is pretty substantial, in my opinion, considering what these cards were actually selling for. So if we could see something like this, this would be a really, really good way for, Panini, Topps, and some of these other manufacturers start, incentivizing people to buy wax that maybe isn't sought after anymore. And yeah, from their perspective, they're not making as much money as they would have been if they would have just tried to sell those boxes, themselves. But the fact that, you've got hobby stores now that are going to have people using your store credit to buy boxes that were maybe sitting there, and then Topps is, going to be buying those cards back off the hobby store. In my opinion, getting that extra money, exchanging hands between buyers and stores, or collectors and stores, I should say, is a really, really cool thing. And I'm curious to get your thoughts on this down in the comments below, whether I'm missing anything with regards to that might indicate, some weird things happening. Like, it could be considered market manipulation to an extent, but essentially Topps is just reducing their profit margin on these products, right? Because now instead of, making X amount of percentage, it's going to be reduced by whatever amount of cards they're buying back. Now, I have heard of some stores declining this service, which I think, is understandable considering I don't think Topps is actually going to be buying these cards back until the new year. So it's obviously a big outlay of cash and store credit these stores have to give to customers. But again, I think in the long run, once it's sorted through all the kinks and something is like in practice and we're seeing this, actually happen, I think it's a really, really cool thing. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Like I said, they've mentioned a few things within their website that they basically talk through what's the catch. I think there was something here around what the purpose was. I think they talk about how they were doing something. They got something in mind that they want to try and do with the cards once they receive them. I don't think there's no official limit. The hobby store has a discretion. There was something in here, as you can see here. What happens to my cards once I bring them back in for buyback, where we have something fun and exciting planned for the cards that are brought back. I would not be surprised if Topps are doing this to try and maybe get on-card autos for some of these cards, and then they're going to put those into next year's product. I would not be surprised if that happened, or if they were planning on releasing some sort of MVP-style product where they're going to have Paul Goldschmidt and Aaron Judge sign all the cards, and then basically put them into some product that, you're going to see other MVPs from the past also have signed cards in. That would be pretty cool. But again, I think this is the kind of innovation that we need within the hobby. Now, I know I'm talking in circles, but that kind of stuff I think does really, really well. And it looks like, Topps have come up with a way to try and, create more value for their customers, try and reduce the downside with the risk associated with buying boxes of cards that are freaking costing an arm and a leg right now. Because Topps, from their perspective, they could say, or you could say, well, why don't Topps just charge less? Well, Topps could charge less, but then what's going to happen to the people that are buying those? The flippers are going to take them and still charge an arm and a leg. Go look what's happening with luxury watches right now. Exactly that is happening. So this is a good way for Topps to try and, again, still eat some cost on their end, but create more value for their customers. Now, in terms of what I said about Hanky Panky, that I think is worth talking to, once I click through it over here, as Sports Card Radio flagged in their video earlier today, a bunch of these cards, about 24 hours before this news was announced, were being sold on eBay for 99 cents, $1. So obviously somebody had inside information. Now, I'm not sure when this kind of information was communicated to hobby stores. So it could be somebody from a hobby store, or it could be somebody out at Topps, or it could be somebody from ComC, because ComC obviously have a partnership with this as well. That's insider trading, as Sports Card Radio said. And these are the kinds of things that I've called about, and apologies for Sports Card Radio, the face I've got saved right now, so I'll move it. One of the things I've called for a lot within the hobby that got a lot of flack towards me was, we need some form of regulation. This is insider trading. Can you imagine, right? If somebody's out there, there's no limit on the number of cards. If somebody's got inside information from Topps, okay, and they've bought all these cards that are selling for like 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks that they know they can get $500 or $200 USD for, like this Paul Goldschmidt over here, or that's going to get $100 because it's over 200 in terms of the number. But they buy this for $50. They go ahead and spend $1,000 on all these cards, and they've turned that $1,000 into $50, $60, $70,000. That's insider trading. That's manipulation. That's the kind of stuff we need regulation for in the hobby. I don't know how we go about doing it, but if I was Topps, I'd be investigating the shit out of this because this kind of crap is unacceptable. They've ripped people off. It's not good. You could say, yeah, it was listed on eBay. It's not their fault. But at the same time, you got people acting on information before it's known to the public. That's completely unacceptable. And again, good catch by Sports Card Radio. I'm keen to get your thoughts on what you think about this or whether you know anybody that's done that. I think it's unacceptable. I'm very keen to get your thoughts. Like I said, let me give the video a like. So that's sort of it for this video. I know I've talked in circles, but I think it's, a really, really good thing for the hobby all in all because, again, Topps have come up with an innovative way to try and create more value for their customers. It's been really disappointing to see that Hanky Panky element, to be honest, because, that kind of crap would not fly in any other kind of, share market industry or things like that. Now, again, my mind's gone blank right now. I'm still not 100%. I'm still a little bit sick, so apologies for that. But that's essentially my thoughts on the situation. So please share yours down in the comments below. Let me know if you're planning on doing something about this yourself. I would love to try and, participate in this, but there's no stores here in Australia. Unfortunately, I do have a couple of these cards from some breaks I entered into. Might send them to a few followers in the States. I don't know why my mind just went blank there. But again, please share your thoughts down in the comments below. I think this is a really, really cool thing. I hope we start seeing more of it from Panini as an example. I very much doubt we will, but it would be cool to see that. Because some of these boxes of cards are just way too freaking expensive, right? It's just unacceptable where things are heading. And this is a really cool way to try and relieve some of that pressure of buying product, because you could say, okay, yes, just don't buy the product. But at the same time, when you're a collector, when you've been buying cards your whole life, this sort of stuff is fun. It's what you do to try and take some stress away from your life. So now that you've got a way to maybe reduce some of that cost by hitting one of these cards, I think is a really, really cool thing. I hope we start seeing more of it. Again, please share your thoughts down in the comments below. Please keep an eye out for my video on Friday. I'm going to be talking through this whole Magic the 30th anniversary shenanigans. I'm going to talk through alpha investments and a few other things, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.